to be a part of my family. So we are all family here. So Daddy gave me this book, and he gave me it at an interesting time. He gave me it at a time when you might think I should have very little time for leisurely reading, because after all, we are at the height of a campaign. But he was insistent on giving it to me like he does with so much other literature. And I decided to give it a little look, and it was entitled The Most Excellent Way to Lead. And there are a couple things that I took away from it that basically will stay with me for life, even from the early stages of engagement with this book. And it said that, first of all, leadership is about being involved in something greater than yourself. So when we consider the ambitious, the daring undertaking of uplifting a constituency, of transforming a constituency, you recognize that that is something greater than any individual. It is greater than me, despite the leadership that I will provide in it. It is greater than any other person, but together we could really make that difference. And the other thing which is to be noted, and this is the overarching theme of the entire book, is that the most excellent way to lead is through love. And they make the point that sometimes it's very difficult to love, and especially to love so diverse a group of people as the individuals which make up a constituency from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life. To love such a diverse group of people that come with their own idiosyncrasies and peculiarities and habits and traits and so on. But you must love them still. And you must, somewhere in your heart of hearts, have a concern for their best interests. Have a concern for helping them to reach their individual goals and helping them to reach collective goals of the community. I think when you approach things within that framework, you have all the energy. You have all the energy. You have all the creativity. You have all the insight and all the talent and capacity that would help you to overcome the challenges that you might confront on your journey. And it is important to note that there will be challenges on the journey. But you would recognize as well that there must be rewarding moments. When I think about my own involvement in matters to do with representation, there's a story which tells me why I am here, why I'm in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, why I'm in East Kingstown, and why I'm going about this work of representing people, and going about this work of representing people even before becoming their elected representative. There was a school in our constituency in 2015, primary school, which had the lowest pass rate in CPEA. The pass rate was down at 30-something%, around 34%. And we recognized that something should be done about it. We mounted an academic program, and within 2 years, by 2017, the pass rate at this same school went right up to 100%. And when I think about why I'm here, I think about what might have away from the formal Seine that we knew of times gone by. It was a garbage dump. People put a lot of scrap material there, worn out containers, rubble from the road, you name it, they had it. But that garbage dump has been converted into a beautiful garden that at the Christmas light-up last year was able to win an award for the best lit garden in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we converted a garbage dump into an award-winning garden. And I've made the point at a public platform before that this is symbolic, because sometimes there may be an individual who considers that his or her life is in the dumps for one reason or another. They might think that they do not have a secondary school education, or they've been through secondary school and left with just a few subjects, or they have been unemployed for an extended period of time. And let me just tell you that we have done tremendous work with unemployment and helping persons to find jobs over the past few years. In fact, by all count, we have already helped over 200 persons directly find jobs. And I'm not talking about what is accommodated by the general expansion and movement in the economy. We are talking about our intervention at the level of our constituency office for people in East Kingstown. And you'll see some of what we have planned for jobs coming out in the presentation tonight. But I don't want you to ever form the impression that we are starting from scratch. Nothing could be further from the truth. We are starting from a platform which was built up by dint of hard work. We didn't come here anticipating that we are going to have an easy road or that it was going to be a walk in the park, but it was our determination to stick to the course until we get to our final destination. And in the context of the electoral battle, the final destination will be 1 week away from today when we achieve victory in East Kingstown. All this time next week, we might be sitting so daintily in French's house. We might be jumping up and down in the streets. We might be having a party at our constituency office. And rumor has it that all roads would lead to East Kingstown when the results are announced. East Kingstown is coming home to Labour. And this is not going to be victory for victory's sake. This is going to be a victory that has a transformative and uplifting effect or impact on our constituency. This is not going to be a victory simply for me as your candidate, but it will be a victory for all the people in East Kingstown. Now, before I go into talking a little bit about a 10-point plan, and the fact that it is a 10-point plan doesn't mean that there's only 10 things that we're going to do, but there are 10 headings under which we are going to do very many things. And some of those things would also be depicted on your screen as we go through it. But there's an interesting observation I made, and I think that it bears highlighting at this forum. And it's simply the fact that it seems as if East Kingstown is essentially going to be the seat of government in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Because, as you have heard, there are plans for the construction of a new parliament. And guess where that parliament is going to be located? In East Kingstown. There are plans for the construction of a new Hall of Justice. And guess where that Hall of Justice is going to be located? In East Kingstown. Now, they say that there are 3 branches of government. There is the legislature, which is the parliament. There's the judiciary, which is covered by the Hall of Justice. And then there's the cabinet, which is the executive. Cabinet currently sits in Financial Complex, but I think we should look for a location in East Kingstown too. And if that were the case, we would have all the branches of government right here in our constituency, and perhaps fittingly so as well. But that is just to show you the prominence and the pride of place that our constituency enjoys, even in the national plans. And we are going to, of course, complement that by what we do in our constituency. Now, I'm just going to run through the headings of the 10-point plan, so you have a general appreciation of the content which might follow. And then we will look at some of the particular highlights. I don't know if what is on the screen is sufficiently large for everyone to see, but we could perhaps try to get as best a glimpse as possible from it, and I would refer to it for your reference. So, this 10-point plan for East Kingstown entails and includes a resurgence of sports, what we call a revival and renaissance of culture, the arts, and entertainment. 3, advancement in education. 4, transformation in health and public health. 5, a revolution in jobs / employment and entrepreneurship. 6, enhancement of public infrastructure and community facilities. 7, improvements in housing and land distribution. 8, protection and promotion of public welfare and physical security. 9, organization of communities and institutional development. 10, strong leadership and active representation on all the issues. So, one thing you'd not be mistaken about is the fact that we have a plan for the development of our constituency. Now, on the question of sports, I'll just read a little bit of a preamble. And what I'm hoping that I'll be able to provide for you tonight as well is a little preview of a website which we have prepared. And I can't pay him to do this because he's highly skilled, but a gentleman by the name of Idel Pompey, who is a IT expert, to say the least. I get him to do some things for me free because we were at university together. So thank God for that. The Lord works in mysterious ways. Despite his accent, please be assured that he is a Vincentian. But it just happens that he assimilated the Barbadian, way of speaking while he was spending some time there. So, we talk about sports. I am a sportsman, first of all. Our constituency is made up of strong sporting communities that have a rich legacy. I'm a part of that legacy, having played cricket for Seine Hill when I was in my prime under the captaincy of Ezekiel Clark, who is popularly known as Dubad. Does anybody know Dubad? Yes. Well, Dubad helped to foster my love for sports and the community. I still look up to him today. I am proposing several sports initiatives as part of my portfolio of plans. The mission is to bring about a resurgence of sports in East Kingstown. Now, there are many elements here, and the intention is to publish a document which captures all the bullet points, because we only have a few of the highlighted elements under each category or each title. There are more. We just look at the ones which are written on the screen. We have, for instance, the proposal for a $400,000 upgrade of the Panyard, Hardcourt, and Community Center in Seine Hill Village, and the installation of floodlights at that facility. I think the loudest applause was coming from Mr. Warren Knights right over in this corner here, because he is a neighbor of the facility and a direct beneficiary, because he's also the manager of Seine Euphonium Steel Orchestra at Champion Side. Incidentally, it is a Champion Side that is about to celebrate on April 4th, 2021, its 40th anniversary of existence. I made a personal pledge of support for its 40th anniversary activities, and we are also going to make sure that we could commemorate this occasion in fine style. Many persons came through that organization, and it is molding many other individuals today. Now, what we're talking here about this upgrade is not a pie-in-the-sky idea, because work has already begun on this project. We are actually executing phase 1, which is going to cost $175,000. Phase 1 is perhaps almost complete. And from there, we move into the next phases to make sure we have a fully functional facility that is befitting the people of Seine Hill and East Kingstown in general. Now, still within the ambit of sports, we're proposing $1 million development project for the Dorchester Hill playing field. And Brother Brisbane on the other end of the aisle, he is clapping for that. The Dorchester Hill playing field has had issues over the years, including the problem of an access road to the playing field, and also the problem of an uneven surface. If you're playing cricket there, and some persons here, I'm sure, played cricket there, you would note that if you're batting at one end, it might be easier to hit fours because the ball just running down the hill all the way to the boundary. So that is something that will be rectified through this particular initiative. And there is something which is not in our 10-point plan, but is a part of our local plans, which I think bears mentioning at this juncture. This has to do with transportation arrangements for persons who go to Dorchester Hill and come from Dorchester Hill. Very often, on mornings and on afternoons, you would see persons seated or sitting at the bottom of the hill waiting for some act of God to send transportation to take them up the hill. And it is our proposal. This is school children, persons who walking up there, other categories of persons who live there. And this motivates us as a part of our local plans to put in place a shuttle service to help out with that particular problem for the community of Dorchester Hill. And we have a similar proposition for the route from Seine Hill to Cane Garden, because it is not an economic route for buses, but it is still an area that is much trafficked. And we believe that by providing a shuttle, we'd be able to be of some assistance to those individuals who need it. So we have this $1 million development project for the playing field to rectify those issues. We are in French's. And I think the next point, which is highlighted here, is a point to be stressed. I think perhaps the most prominent sports family in all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, by virtue of all the members of the household being involved in sports in one way or the other, is the Ballantyne family from right here in French's. And in recognition of that, and to promote again our culture and our resurgence of sports, we are going to propose a sports complex in honor of Gloria Ballantyne to be called the Global Sports Complex. And GLOW is spelled GLO-BALL. Obviously, there's some significance to that because when you hear global, you think about worldwide. Glow is also from Gloria. Ball is from Ballantine and also from ball, which is the symbol of sports. So we put some thinking into even the name of the sports complex that we would have in her honor. We have as well the intention. I think that our thrust in relation to sports, and in this particular point I want to talk about football, is often very ad hoc. We want to put structure and organization to our sports. And I think that this could be done while at the same time paying tribute to possibly the most dominant football family. This is a family from Seine Hill, by establishing the Millington Football Academy, which is going to be responsible for training upcoming footballers and making sure that we develop the right discipline and ethics for success in sports. And that will be matched as well by a Triminum Football Academy. We are also hoping to have academies for other sports. Those academies have not yet been determined in terms of naming, but for instance, I would surely like to see a cricket academy. I was a cricketer, once upon a time, and I played cricket for Seine Hill. And I've opened some discussions with persons already to see what we could do in terms of cricket and other sports and setting up academies so that we have this resurgence of sports that we are talking about taking full effect. Well, those are the things on the sporting aspect of our manifesto, you might call it, for East Kingstown. I want us to move into component number 2 of this, and summarized there as culture and entertainment. But what we want to essentially do is bring about a revival and renaissance of culture, the arts, and entertainment. Bear in mind that I said that this is just some highlights from the bigger body of all our elements, of all our ideas. And we are still open to feedback. So even after this presentation, if you wanted to make a contribution that could be factored into our proposals, then you are open to do that. Now, in terms of culture, the arts and entertainment, just to mention that the facility in the village, the Panyard Hardcourt and Community Center, also is part sports, part culture. Just keep that in mind. We have here, and I hinted at this before, the special commemoration of the 40th anniversary of the Seine Hill Euphonium Steel Orchestra, an annual sponsorship of that organization. That is already happening to some extent. It will be formalized and extended. One of the things, and we see a lot of this talent coming out in the course of this campaign. We have many talented singers. We have many talented young men into music and who are interested in recording music. In recognition of that fact, we are going to push for the creation of a state-of-the-art music production and recording studio. I know persons who have done great things out of a makeshift situation. El Pank, for instance, is a young man who came from humble beginnings, from a humble studio, from the simplest of setup and arrangements. And now, Monique is his neighbor. I see Monique clapping with her pretty purple hair. And now, he is an international performer, all the way from East Kingstown. In addition to having this state-of-the-art music, but producing music, I want all these persons to know that in Luke, you're going to have a representative that helps you to develop your craft and make your contribution to the cultural heritage of this country. And I wouldn't say that that is an exhaustive list. There are other persons as well. But I think you'll get the point that these plans emerge from a deep understanding of what is happening in East Kingstown. They're connected to our reality. So we have the third point, special grants for existing studios and emerging singers or artists. We have, in addition to that, the proposal for a school of music for steel pan, piano, violin, and other art forms as well. I think that maybe this is maybe what Rodney Small has in mind with his latest project. So surely there could possibly be a collaboration with our latest cultural ambassador with the objective of achieving this particular goal. And we have a very important item at the end of this list for culture and entertainment, sponsorship and support for Christmas light-up activities in all the various communities. Mr. Christmas himself, Mr. Lennox Bowman, is right here with us. And I think he might probably double up on his Christmas spirit now that he has given up on Geku. Well, he hasn't given up on it for sure, but he has retired. And what a stellar career he had with Geku as well. So you know that where Christmas light up is concerned, we have a rich tradition. We have a tradition in Dorchester Hill. We have a tradition in Kingstown Hill. We have a tradition in Seine Hill, including Roseau at the Recreational Park. I believe that we should get things going in other parts of the constituency. And we are going to operate on an expanded basis from this very Christmas season. So look forward to bright lights and stars at Christmas. All right, so education. Our vision is that there should be equality of opportunity in education. We have already pioneered several successful education initiatives in collaborations with schools and learning institutions, and I mentioned one of those initiatives already. We now want to get on board with a full-blown program for advancement in education. And the 3 points to note here in education, again, as highlights from the broader portfolio: free CPE lessons at all primary schools of the constituency as required. We want to make sure that the students are properly prepared for that important academic hurdle. We are making a commitment here to provide, over the course of the next 5 years, up to $250,000 in scholarships, bursaries, and a school aid program. So we put in $250,000 on the constituency front for doing this, which means that we are committing ourselves to $50,000 a year in assistance for children from East Kingstown. And we have another element critical in our educational component: the training programs, vocational courses, and apprenticeships of all kinds, included in mechanics, in sewing, in the culinary arts, you name it. We're going to have training programs commensurate with the interests and talents of people from East Kingstown. Now we get on to an important element of the 10-point plan in light of the portfolio which I have held in government over the past 5 years. I've been your faithful Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment at a time of the COVID-19 pandemic. And when we were getting through the pandemic, and it's not over yet, we had to deal with an outbreak of dengue fever. And we mounted a strong response to that as well. And of course, we are now fully into the campaign season. So you could imagine that it has been a very intense period of a few months for me. And that's why I need your prayers and your support and your sustenance as we go forward. Because I'm not under any illusion that I could do this on my own. You know, the truth is it has been an awesome responsibility. Health in ordinary times is possibly the most challenging ministerial portfolio in government. And it is even more so when you're dealing with the kind of international matters that we have had to deal with over the past few months. Now, so on this front, we have to make the point that charity begins at home. And this is why you may already know that we are carrying out the renovation of the Seine Clinic. In fact, I've been advised that the renovation is complete and we could open that facility soon. We'll reopen it before the elections. So you'd resume having services there. We spent $150,000 or so on the project, and it's being complemented by putting in place a retaining wall, and we're doing some work for the resurfacing of the road going up to the clinic as well. So you have a good package. And so that renovation is a part of our plan, it's ongoing. We're also going to have a living nurse at the Seine Clinic to enhance access to health services for emergencies. I probably have somebody in mind as well, somebody here. So we're going to have a living nurse at the clinic. We're going to have additional doctor days at the Seine Clinic as well. I don't think that one day is enough. And people certainly don't only fall sick on a schedule on a Wednesday. So we're going to expand the number of doctor days, and by doing so, expand access to health services. We are also going to set up a system of home medical visits for the elderly, sick, indigent, and disabled. In other words, persons who cannot come out to the clinic for themselves. We must have a system that takes the health services to those individuals in their homes. And more than that, sometimes what is required is not so much somebody going to visit someone or carry out health services in their homes, but providing emergency transportation services from home to a health facility as is maybe required. And I know that several people struggle with this on an ongoing basis, but if you are in East Kingstown, you're not going to struggle with it anymore because we will provide emergency medical transportation services. You see why I talk about us going to become the envy of the world and all the other constituencies? In addition to that, we'd like to set up our own medical emergency fund. And the last point on this slide, I think, is an important point from the standpoint of public health. It is our intention to eradicate all outdoor bathrooms in East Kingstown. Well, it is often otherwise hideously called pit latrines. We've seen several. I think that some persons who live more comfortably do not have a real sense of the extent of the issue with outdoor bathrooms still in our constituency. We've been able to make some progress against it with the Lives to Live project, but there's a lot of work left to be done. I have already commissioned from our public health department a study to determine how many such facilities exist in our constituency, and therefore to determine the cost implications associated with having the matter rectified, and we will embark upon it even if it means we have to perhaps submit an international project somewhere so that the resources become available for the execution of this project. And as always, what you're getting here is really just a snapshot of the wider portfolio of things for health and public health. Jobs and entrepreneurship. Critical. And we got to some of this when we were talking in the preamble. We said that we've already helped with many job placements, and our goal is to help up to an additional 500 persons find jobs in my first term as the Member of Parliament for East Kingstown. And there's some complementary or, supplementary elements to this plan, because we're planning to formally establish an employment agency. But of course, the employment agency is going to feed into the ultimate goal of finding jobs for people. But that is an element of what we're doing to get it done. Additional prime grants to constituency-based entrepreneurs and business enterprises. The establishment of at least 10 new substantial business enterprises in the constituency, and the opening of markets and economic opportunities for craft entrepreneurs and cultural exponents. Now, this is critical for us to take note of, because currently in our country, a craft entrepreneur, perhaps a mass man, you might say, only has opportunity to ply his trade around the time of Carnival. You take, for instance, an individual who might win King of the Bands and get a reward for winning King of the Bands. What becomes of that production after Carnival? Very often, they destroy it so that they could rebuild another king for the following year. Why don't we preserve these things somewhere or find an additional way of utilizing them so that we could provide ongoing income possibilities for our craftsmen? One way I see us being able to do this to an appreciable extent is through the Christmas light-up operation. On one occasion with the Christmas light-up, we had the opportunity to work with persons from the community. For instance, Tempo from Seine Hill. Anybody knows Tempo? Tempo is a bad man, as they say, when it comes to bamboo craft. But all right. Well, if Monique work with him, you don't know the thing legit. So Tempo is a bamboo craft man, but again, they could they could benefit from expanded market opportunities. There's a gentleman by the name of Weapon in Seine Hill as well. I have a lot of respect for his talent with wire bending. But again, to what extent is he able to make a living from the use of that talent? It's not just persons who would be involved in Carnival and so that might have great talent in this area. There's a gentleman from the Dorsetshire Hill area, Vonley Graves. I don't know how much he's doing it right now, but he used to make a lot of jewelry and so on from bamboo as well. We need him to be exposed. Right in the village, we have a guy by the name of Buyu. Again, into craft, needs to be exposed, and you would have me as a representative seeking opportunities for these individuals. Same one. Oh yeah, that's the end of the highlights for that. So we have the element, and this is a big portfolio. This is not a simple area at all. Public infrastructure and community facilities And this is a list that is open to expansion on an ongoing basis, but I think that we have a fair synopsis of some of the matters at hand right now, listed on the slide. We have, for instance, the proposal for a multi-million-dollar roadworks program. I must tell you right now that some people get confused about me. You know, it has been said, rightly, that I'm a Rhodes Scholar, which is to say I won a scholarship. I went to the University of Oxford and studied there and came back. But they think that is really meant to be ROADS, scholar. Because if you look at the performance in the past 5 years in East Kingstown, you would see that we have done quite a number of roads. We've been able to fix quite a number of roads in the constituency. For instance, just recently, to get the ball rolling, we had the Morris Road, and we had to claim that for the constituency. The main road, which was done at a cost of up to $600,000, right in East Kingstown. We have done roads in Morris Village, and most recently in the area where Maureen Joyette used to live. May she continue to rest in peace. Maureen was a very strong comrade, and we remember her at this time. But we did a road right in that neck of the woods. There's still more road work to be done, and that's why we're proposing a comprehensive program. But we've done roads in Seine Hill Village, the shortcut road in Seine Hill Village, other roads in Seine Hill Village. We've done the entire road in Mala Village. We've done the entire main segment of the Rosa Road from the top to the bottom. We just did work on the road in Walvaroo, going up into the village itself. We did work on the road down to Seine Hill Bay. Right now, we're doing work on the Arrowood Flat Road in Dorsetshire Hill. I mentioned the road to the Seine Hill Clinic. It's really dizzying if you try to keep track of the work that we have done on the roads in the constituency. And we're not going to rest on our laurels. And in addition to the work on roads proper, we've also had work on several footpaths in many different areas. Footpaths were done under Basic Needs Trust Fund projects, and they were also done under different arrangements, in many cases implemented through BRAGSA. So roads, footpaths, and we're going to propose a multi-million-dollar roadworks program, and there are several things that we want to achieve from this program. One of the elements which has been brought to our attention as a possibility is a connection of the road from Mala Village to Walvaroo. You know, when you go into Mala Village, you have to turn back. You can't continue to drive. You go down the steps by this area of the Sutherland residence. It's not motorable. So that is something that is under contemplation as a part of this roadworks program. Also, in Seine Hill Village, you know, there is a disconnect as far as motorable road is concerned from Seine Hill Village coming down, perhaps back into the Cane Garden area. So the possibility of doing something about that is also on our agenda as a part of this multi-million-dollar roadworks program. I believe that there is a need for a comprehensive overhaul of the Mountain Cabbage Road and some other roads in Rockies, because there are, to my mind, and this could be assessed in an engineering sense, some underlying drainage and other issues to be rectified there. And there are drainage issues in several parts of the constituency due to the topography and other considerations, including between Mala Village and Walvaroo as well. So we want to see if we could get to the bottom of that and provide some relief to that problem. So a multi-million-dollar roadworks program. We actually have a schedule of roads that we have earmarked so far, again, which will be published as part of the booklet, and we are still open to recommendations on roads to be done. The next item, I think, is important from a developmental standpoint because we already have the Seine Hill intersection being used as a makeshift market, if you will. Persons set up there, some of them on a daily basis. Some of them will come on a Saturday morning, including the butcher who will be there on the Saturday morning, the ladies who have their stalls with plantains and breadfruit and vegetables of one kind or another. But they don't have to be existing in simple conditions. That's why we're going to set up a proper open-air market and events facility at the Seine Hill intersection. So notice the two elements which are together here. Open-air market and events facility. Because the intersection is used very often for events, including Christmas light-up activity. And there must be the ability for us to host and hold events there in a comfortable setting going forward. So that's a part of our portfolio of plans. The construction of a community center in Seine Hill. I think that we have the Rockies Community Center, and we're going to refurbish that and upgrade it, and we're going to make sure that the community has greater access and use of that facility. There must be no monopolization of the use in the facility. So we're going to upgrade it and bring it alive. And if we find an appropriate space, we're going to also do something similar in the heart of Maurice Village itself, because to some extent the community center in Rockies is a fair distance away from Maurice Village. So I believe we should try to have a facility of a similar nature somewhere in Maurice Village at a site to be identified. Where the community center for Seine Hill is concerned, I have already seen a potential site. We have an earmark site, but I think it is perhaps premature for us to get into the details of where that site might be in advance of relevant negotiations which have to take place. So we have a community center there. We, of course, are going to see the further development of the Rosa Recreational Park. We've already invested in it, and we need to now install some exercise equipment, some playground equipment to bring it fully alive, and also put in place some other infrastructure like concession stands that could operate almost on a continuous basis. Because it is my view that that could be a very popular center of activity. And going into this storm, we have to achieve the full potential of that site. And one way in which we're going to utilize it as well is by making it the home of an organization that we propose to call SWEAT. Now, the PS from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment walks in at just the right time. He anticipated that I was going to talk about something to do with healthy lifestyles, you know. So there's a proposal for the establishment of this group called SWEAT. You know, we always say, by the sweat of your brow, you shall eat bread. I remember Winston Churchill at the time of great anxiety in Britain said that he had nothing to offer but his blood, sweat, tears, and toil. So sweat is important in our popular culture, and I want everybody to be able to bust a sweat on an ongoing basis. So we're going to create this organization called SWEAT, being an acronym for Special Workout, Entertainment, and Activities Team. So we're going to have SWEAT groups all across the constituency, maybe potentially all across the country, and the Rosa Recreational Park is going to be an operational center for SWEAT. And since Jerusha lives right next to that park, I'm sure she'll be an active participant in the activities. We have, well, I spoke about the refurbishment of the Rockies Community Center. We're not going to build a dolphin park at Seine Hill Bay. A dolphin park or prison might be the more appropriate term. I mentioned that we already fixed the road going down to the beach. And what we know is necessary down there is for us to have a protection and preservation project for Seine Hill Bay. So while some people are presenting outlandish and far-fetched ideas against the interests of the environment, we are going to protect our environment and at the same time set up a beach park at Seine Hill Bay. So we have a plan for the beach, and we have a general plan for the installation of more street lights in different parts of the constituency. This is also connected as well to a bit of the security element. So there you have it, the portfolio of plans for public infrastructure and community facilities. So housing and land distribution. In this area, we have set ourselves the target of distributing at least 200 parcels of land in the constituency. And we're going to start with the land popularly known and which came to prominence in the public conversation recently as McLean land in Rockies. Now, I had the opportunity to take the Prime Minister to McLean land on, I think it was on Tuesday, on Independence Day. So, well, it felt like a Sunday in truth, you know. So, we visited McLean land. We saw the conditions in which the persons there are currently forced to live. We had to walk down a treacherous track to get to their houses, which becomes even worse in circumstances of rain. Or like now, it is perilous to go down there. I have seen persons coming off that land who have to put on plastic bags over their shoes before they start to walk to get out of the land, and before they take off the plastic bags when they get to a concrete part of the road for them to continue. On that land as well, persons do not have the permission to erect permanent structures. They all live in board houses. They all live in houses with outside bathrooms. They live in circumstances of squalor and deprivation. And that is what motivated, despite all the public discourse, that is what motivated the government to act on the matter of the McLean land. People must simply be able to live in dignity, and the Unity Labour Party will give those persons the opportunity to live in dignity. So we're going to distribute at least 200 parcels of land. I mentioned the McLean land. There are other areas in the constituency which I think we should explore the possibility, where we should explore possibilities for land distribution, because land is fundamental to a person's own personal ambitions. And we want to give life to their ambitions. And land is not everything, because in many cases, you want to have a roof over your head. And this is why these two bullet points here are basically really twin points. We want to have a multi-million-dollar home repair and improvement project. Now, this is not distributing building material simplicity, because I'm acutely aware that that has its own constraints and confines. Somebody might get building material, but be unable to afford the labor or the tradesman who would help to fix their house. And in several instances, getting the building material doesn't change their situation fully. So we want to distribute materials, but to also have a program under which the work to effect repairs on houses could be carried out, and the materials are put to the use that would the best possible use by these individuals. So we're going to have a multi-million-dollar home repair and improvement project proposed for our constituency. And I don't want you to think that this is not connected to activities taking place under the government right now, because you know very well that there was a Lives to Live project being executed, and that Lives to Live project impacted on many persons in our constituency. I know one guy by the name of Tunkans, for instance. He had a blind fella. He had a house constructed on the Lives to Live. That brought some relief to his situation. And there are other persons who have benefited from Lives to Live projects and initiatives. And we want to make sure that we streamline and improve even on the work that has been done under that initiative and in many other areas. Now, the second to last component of our 10-point plan, this is point number 9, protection and promotion of public welfare and physical security. I think the matters on this slide are self-explanatory. The first one here is a home for children, and I want you to know that this is something that is very dear to me, and it is something which be crystallized in my mind as an important idea for the constituency. When I had a conversation not so long ago with a lady who is facing a potentially terminal illness and who had 2 young children and who was concerned about what would be their fate if something were to happen to her. On the spur of the moment in her case, I said, don't worry, we wish you well, we hope you battle and that you recover and that you're with us for a long time, but if something were to happen to you, I will take care of those children myself. I will make sure that they grow up and have a future. And I also think about my grandmother. I take this in a sort of personal way, who had 1 child of her own, but who opened her house to many other children and brought them up. So with that example, I think it would be a fitting tribute to her as well. So we're going to work together to set up a home for children in East Kingstown. And I don't even have to do this as a part of any initiative of the government. I am prepared to use my own private resources, if required, to build this home for children. We would provide welfare grants in the constituency, and we would work towards the reactivation of neighborhood watch groups. I know that they may be a little bit dormant now, but I think they have a role to play. Incidentally, today we laid to rest one of my neighbors, Mr. Cambridge, former distinguished taximan in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who won many awards. And I heard it as a part of his eulogy that he was a foundation member of a neighborhood watch in Bay Hill. So that's the neighborhood watch. And no, down. Right? That's the back, right? And the final slide, the final point of our 10-point plan, I think, is a general statement that I will provide you with strong leadership and active representation on all the issues. So, and you never really know at the outset what you would be required to do for someone in an act of representation. I mean, I could only talk about it by reference to some of the experiences that I've actually had in the course of my political life. It could be as simple as someone not knowing how to navigate the public system. I ran into an individual at a time who was saddled with a water bill of almost $3,000 and didn't know how to get it addressed, was thinking that they might be really liable for it. It turns out that they had a leak, and she didn't know that she could perhaps apply or request a rebate from the Central Water and Sewage Authority in the circumstances of having a leak. Without somebody there to represent her, she would have been forced to go through the difficult experience of having to try to settle an outsized water bill. A simple act of representation. I remember someone coming to me and said, oh, a student on the nursing course at the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College, and you know that these students get stipends when they are studying their nursing, on the nursing program. Apparently a student came to me and said that she got pregnant on the course. They discontinued her stipends when she got pregnant. She resumed the course subsequently, but her stipends never resumed. It's as if she was being penalized for being pregnant. It turned out that she was deprived of over $10,000 in stipends because of that. And there were other persons in that position. She came to me, she put her case to me, and we were able to resolve that matter for that nursing student. She received her $10,000 of stipends, and the order was given for everyone in a similar position to receive their outstanding stipends as well. These are cases where you could put a dollar value on representation, you might say, to some extent. But in other scenarios, it might be priceless. And you never know what the scenario is, but what you know is that you have a commitment from me for the long haul to be the very...
Comrades, I am certain that we can all agree that we had a stellar presentation from the Honorable Luke Browne. It is a 10-point plan or program that is robust. It is a program and plan of action that is rooted in the very concerns and interests of the people of East Kingstown. It is indeed a plan that offers representation to everyone. It offers representation to every part of the constituency. It offers representation to the child. It offers representation to the adults. It offers representation to everyone. And that is ultimately what we need when we elect a parliamentary representative for East Kingstown. Another rousing round of applause for the Honorable Luke Browne. At this time, you would have heard about the website that would have the mini manifesto, and we would have our web tech, Mr. Ayodele Pompey. He is going to take us through a preview of the website. So if you kindly focus your attention to the screen, you would have a quick preview of the website for the constituency of East Kingstown. And the domain name is LB for East Kingstown. LB for eastkingstown.com. On the homepage, you see the image of the candidate. It says we can make a difference together. And I would ask I recognize that he may have a few issues with navigating both the screen and the microphone. So I'll kindly ask Mr. Edward to assist with the navigation on the screen so that he can give a more detailed description of the features that are offered on the website for the candidate in East Kingstown, the Honorable Luke Browne. Let's welcome Mr. Idle Pompey.
Thank you, Tamira. Good night, everyone. All right, so as Tamira just said, the website address is lb4eastkingstown.com. It's currently live, so when you leave here, you can go home and browse the website. On the homepage, you can see straight off the bat that you have a high-quality website with sharp images and very much a pleasant experience, very professional and clean user interface. Here we have on the website, we can make a difference together. And then we have a call to action, which says to join my campaign. And if you were to click that button to sign up, if you click that button to sign up, it will take you to a page where you can actually complete a form if you want to volunteer to participate in the campaign. So in that form, you have if you click the drop down, you have some options there, office support, there's some field work. I can't see from here, but there are a couple, driving, poll day agent, and general support, you have that, and then you just enter your contact information, your name, address, telephone number, etc., age, and so forth. And so if you want to volunteer, and then here is where you go to submit your information to do so. If you go back to the home page, all right, so as we scroll down, all right, so we have here a letter from the candidate, a very personal letter. I would encourage us to read it. Good touch. And at the bottom of that, there's a button that will take you to his biography. So here you can find out a lot about who your candidate is. And so you can feel a sort of personal touch. It goes through in sort of a timeline fashion. Yes. I'm sure by going through the website, you will get a more deeper personal appreciation for who your candidate is and some of his accomplishments, which I might say is a lot for a young man. I think you should put your hands together for your candidate. All right, so continuing to scroll, you have his 10-point plan. And so here you have 3 categories pretty much at the top there. So if you scroll back up just a little bit, all right, you have it here in like a sort of a tabular fashion. So you have the 10-point plan. In the select local plans, if you click that, you'll see that changes. And then you have the national plans that would have an impact on the constituency. Okay? And if we scroll down further, we have the mission. I can't see it from here, but it's a mission you would probably want to buy into.
My mission is to make a strong contribution to the development and upliftment of our people and of the people and the communities of East Kingstown. I am out to help build a new Vincent and the Grenadines as part of the Unity Party administration. We are poised for takeoff. Poised to take off is a reference to our AIA. We are poised to take off. The future is in our hands.
All right, let me read that again for persons who did not hear. My mission is to make a strong contribution to the development and upliftment of the people and communities of East Kingstown. I am out to help build a new St. Vincent and the Grenadines as part of the Unity Labour Party administration. We are poised for takeoff. The future is in our hands. Okay, and then when we scroll along further, we're still on the home page. We're at the bottom now. You'll have a countdown to Election Day, so we make sure no one misses Election Day. And then on the right, you have the upcoming events. And so if you're not sure what's happening, you can come to the website, go to that section, and be informed of the upcoming activities. And then you have at the bottom there, still scroll along a bit more, just below that you have a call to action again if you would like to support. And so guys, I would encourage you strongly. Micro contributions do help. And so there's the ability to donate on the website. I think we should go to that page, go to the donate page. All right, and so in the payment gateway is PayPal, so it's secure, so you can use your credit cards without fear. You have in the drop down, you have some fixed, and those will be changed. All right, I'm being informed that those will be changed, but when you do come back to the site sometime later this week, you'll probably have different denominations there. But you have a fixed set of donations that you can choose from. Okay, let's go back to the home page and just talk through the basic site map. We have the home menu, then we have the about. So under the about, we have sub-menus for the letter from the candidate, the biography and his life and work. We saw the letter from the candidate on the home page. We saw the biography, so we probably will come back to go to the life and work when we finish this. Across the top, we also have his plans. You have the news and media, which is at this time is pretty much the Instagram account. And then we have the join my campaign, donate, and then contact. And across the top there as well, at the far right, you also have the links to the social media. If you're not currently a fan on his Facebook page or a follower on Instagram or whatever, I'd advise you to do so. All right. So going back to the link, life and work. On the life and work page, you will see his achievements is in the constituency, and many of you can bear witness to these for these achievements, and there are a few pictures there as well. And then at the bottom we have the achievements, I think, in the ministry and ministerial achievements. And so you can have a look at those achievements. They're quite long, which shows the hard work and dedication that Luke Browne has shown to this constituency. And then we have his World Assembly speeches there as well. Okay? So you know from this page that you will get proper representation. All right, and then let's navigate to the My Plans page. We went through those tonight in much detail, but on the plans page, you will see in categorized fashion the 10-point plan. Then we would also see the select local plans and also the national plans that would impact the constituency. And then there's Project 40 and a more succinct list of plans called the 10 top plans. I'm not sure how he chose those 10 top plans. Yeah, but for him, I guess those are the plans and that he considers the most impactful ones out of all the plans. All right, and then we have the news and media page, which I said earlier is pretty much his Instagram. So literally, you can come to this page. You can browse. So if you click one of those images, right? And now,
This Unity Youth 2020.
right. So from here, you can browse the Instagram, his Instagram page. Okay, a lot of highlights there, and nice photos, well done. And then we have the Join My Campaign page, which we saw earlier. And then we have the Donate page, and then the Contact page. And that brings us to the end of the website preview. Put your hands together.
I think Idel did an excellent job in producing the winning website for a winning team. I think it is quite fitting, as well as Mr. Jai Ladipo, who is one of our Nigerian counterparts. We all went to university together, and I think that's where collaboration begins. And this collaboration is helping us to show that when we network and when we work together, great things can happen, and even greater things would happen when we win on November 5th, going into the next term. At this time, I know that the weather is inclement on the outside, but there is an opportunity for an open forum, and we would use the next 15 minutes for any interaction or engagements that you would like to have with the candidate. You may want to give feedback with respect to the website, or you may wish to give feedback with respect to the plans that you heard. It was a 10-point plan, and we know that there were different headings. There may be some things that you didn't hear that you wanted to hear. There may be some questions that you have with respect to the 10-point plan. Now is your opportunity to share. Not all at once, of course, but please don't be shy, and I want us to get the ball rolling so that we can ensure that we are doing things in a timely and measured manner. Anyone would like to start? I think we have a satisfied audience. Is that fair to say? But we have one person so far who would like to speak. I am trying to see if there's a mobile mic, or we're going to have to share microphones. We have a virtual audience as well. So that is the... Okay, I would paraphrase or repeat your question for the benefit of the others. Absorbing. Wow. And it was shared, it was proposed to the New Democratic Party since in the 90s. And it was not materialized until the ULP came in power. And Julian Francis said he would build upon the art society. And we included, our plan also included the at Element. Thank you very, very much. For the benefit of our virtual audience, I think I can summarize into 3 areas. He offered commendations for the plan that was proposed here this evening. He also shared that there should be some stronger emphasis on TVET, skill building in the constituency of East Kingstown. He again offered commendations for the work on the Seine Hill Panyard and the facilities that exist there. And he also mentioned that there are some additional facilities that he would like to see, being the kitchen being one of those facilities, so that they can do outreach and service in the constituency of Seine, in the community of Seine Hill and the surrounding environments. So I don't know if the minister would like to just respond to point 2 and share on the TVET and skill building, because I know it's part of the plan, but not one of the points that were elaborated on tonight. Let's welcome him. I think he's looking for the specific point so that he can speak accurately to the information that he holds.
Thank you, Mr. Knights, and certainly your dream in every way will come alive, and I hope that you'd give life to our dream that Seine Hill Euphonium will be the Panorama champions next year. Now, in terms of technical and vocational areas, I just wanted to give a sense of our thinking on the broad matter of jobs, the areas in which we believe there could be growth in jobs and movement in jobs, because the training, and in particular the technical and vocational training, I think will mimic that. We have as potential job types, for instance, farming, construction, and construction includes masons, carpenters, plumbers, electricians, painters, compounders, laborers, welders, pretty much tech-voc subject areas. There are technicians as well, technicians in computer, cell phone, radio, television, and clock repair. We're looking at chefs, including bakers. We're looking at actors, dramatists, theater artists, entertainers, including singers, songwriters, musicians, and DJs. I want to make, when I'm talking about this, first of all, it's another very important cultural institution that has residence in Seine Hill called the New Artist Movement, or NAM. NAM on September 1st this year celebrated its 47th anniversary of existence. And is made up of such illustrious personalities as Cecil Blazer Williams, Glenford Ralph. I don't know if Glenford is here, but he would likely be here somewhere. And other persons, David Darky Williams, people who are legends, as Rodney Small would say, in their particular field. And one of the things that we want to do is make sure that we restore NAM House, which is also in the village. Restore, relocate, whatever is required to help that art form to grow. And I don't want us to downplay or underestimate the importance of theater arts and drama in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I reviewed the results for CXC for the past several years, and in 2019, theater arts had a 100% pass rate in CXC. There is great interest in the area, and I say half jokingly but also very seriously that we could have our own version of Hollywood in St. Vincent and the Grenadines if we play our cards right. So we certainly see possibilities in that area. We also see drivers, mechanics, including marine mechanics, housekeepers, block makers, general hotel staff, tailors, seamstresses, security officers. Sorry? welders. I mentioned welders earlier, but I know you want to hear it twice. We have IT personnel. I think that straddles the line between an academic area and a technical and vocational area. We are also looking at exercise coaches or PE instructors, barbers and hairdressers, cosmetologists, makeup artists, bartenders, shoemakers, cobblers, preschool teachers, winemakers, craftsmen and craftswomen. In other words, almost every possible vocation under the sun is catered for in our jobs program and by extension, our training program. Now, we can't forget mechanics and some of these areas. I don't know how many persons know this, but St. Vincent and the Grenadines is currently the headquarters for the Eastern Caribbean for the DFID Vocational Training Program. DFID is the Department for International Development from the United Kingdom government. So all the types of vocational courses that are implied by the range of jobs that we're looking at and the range that we would see in, say, the DFID programming in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And on top of that, I'm hoping that we could carve out special arrangements with Taiwan, which is our ally and which I hope would remain the ally of St. Vincent and the Grenadines after the next elections. So make sure that you have this government return to power in addition to Luke coming home. The husband of our ambassador to Taiwan is right in our midst here as well. So I'm hoping that we could explore special arrangements with Taiwan because I know persons have had the opportunity to go on tech courses in Taiwan. But we don't only want them to be able to travel there. We want to be able to implement tech courses in conjunction with Taiwan right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, including in vast areas such as mechanics. There are a lot of persons interested in mechanics. We have several well-established mechanic shops, including Dennis Joyet, right in our constituency. In the plan, I think that there is an abundance of either existing or former mechanic operations. The plan is incidentally very close to the technical division of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College. So that is, so my mind has already more or less zeroed in on the possibility of us capitalizing on that fact, having technical and vocational training in mechanics and other areas, complete with an apprentice shop right there in the plan, within or outside the jurisdiction of the community college itself, and using that as the nucleus around which we could build out a part of our expansive technical and vocational course. So this is firmly a part of our agenda going forward, and I want you to be able to achieve what you talk about there in terms of providing meals for disadvantaged persons in the village. We should make it happen. Let us make a difference together.
We will make a difference together. Are there any further questions? I know question one almost, well, the first intervention almost took a chunk of our time, or took a chunk of our time, but we would like for the engagement to continue. Yes, sir. Mr. Small?
Good night, Roy.
Good night.
Let me also congratulate the minister and his team on a well put together event. One that is very detailed.
I think I see that persons would want to hear the questions firsthand. So I'm going to ask you, please, to just step out of your aisle.
All right, thank you. I know we are in the virtual space. I know we have to be very careful with some of the suggestions that we are bringing forward.
because we are in a space where we're trying to protect our intellectual property. Right? But it is an observation that I've been making over the years, and as the minister mentioned about the students in the theatre arts who are writing theatre arts for CXC, one of their, because I do prepare students for the theatre arts exam, one of the requirements is that you must write on your cultural art form or your cultural heritage. And what do we find students are doing is that they're writing on everything that is foreign and not anything that belongs to us as Vincentians. My suggestion is that I don't know if anywhere in the plans that you have anything that deals with community expression, and under that broad topic, preservation, where East Kingstown is concerned, because we have a wealth of history. And there are a lot of young people here. Like you mentioned some names like the Millington and the Ballantyne, and some of these young people not really aware of their contribution. So I am hoping that under the broad topic of community expression, that we are looking to preserve a lot of the history that is involved or that is a part of East Kingstown, so that we as young people and the other young persons to come, especially from the kids program, can get to know about their community and have a better and greater appreciation for the community that they are from. Because we all can say that, you know, East Kingstown have a wealth of history and a wealth of knowledge that we need to know. So again, to add to the whole theatre arts thing, we have more persons writing on St. Vincent cultural heritage. And secondly, more on the practical side, we have a lot of painters in Seine. I mean painters as in artists. We have a lot of wall structure, and I think we can use these wall structure and do murals that can show what we are known for as persons in East Kingstown. For example, you're living in Barley. What is Barley known for? So you see something of blackfish and how they catch it and how they prepare it. So, you know, it ends up being a tourist attraction. So when you come in through the intersection, that big wall, you see sports, you see the lighting up, you see the panyard, everything that is known, that East Kingstown is known for, will be on that wall. Thank you.
I think that is spoken like the research officer in the Department of Culture. And I trust that the research officer would undertake to ensure that the history is written with respect to culture in East Kingstown, with respect to culture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because I often say that is one of the areas that we fall short in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A lot of persons, particularly the older persons, are not writing enough so that we have the transition or the passing down of information. Nonetheless, I will let the minister respond to the topics of culture and also the community expression for culture in East Kingstown.
Thanks, Rodney, and great intervention, and also thank you for giving me the opportunity to touch on some of the elements of our text and some of the details of the plan which were not presented in the context of the concise presentation. But you make a good point, and we got to use our painters in the way you suggested to do murals and to do other works. And we've done something along these lines before. I mean, in terms of teaching about our own persons, which I think is a part of the preservation of our culture. You would know that I was involved in a project for writing a series of articles and ultimately a book on entrepreneurs of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Similar work must be done on cultural icons in Seine Hill and from East Kingstown, the Morris Village and elsewhere. One of the things that I'm hoping to do at the upgraded Seine Hill Village Hard Court in particular is for us to have an Owen Ralph exhibition. One of these days, very soon. Owen Ralph was perhaps chief among the painters in the community, and I want us to have, this is something we've discussed. I am living, breathing, working, how we create a strong culture and a strong community. So I want us to be able to do an Owen Ralph exhibition up there, and I don't. And I mentioned that we put the wall on the wall, the same wall that you were mentioning there in Seine Hill. We had 10 pictures of 10 of the entrepreneurs from our book plastered there. We want to do more work along that line. We want to do the Owen Ralph exhibition at the Panyard and Hardcourt, display his artwork, maybe turn it into a bit of an auction so that, we continue to strengthen our culture in that regard. And there's more to it. East Kingstown, I believe, has to be said, is the home of all the mass tents in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I don't know a mass tent that is either not physically located in East Kingstown or in a serious way connected to East Kingstown. But how much of this is reflected in the things we see every day? How much of this is reflected in the work that we produce for external examinations? This is something that requires us to pay attention and see how we could improve in that area. And it's not just restricted to culture and cultural persons and personalities. We should also do something in terms of sports. And one of the things that forms part of our proposal is for us to erect a memorial to Winston Davis at the Seine Hill playing field. And also to have a photographic hall of fame at that facility dedicated to outstanding sportsmen and sportswomen in the community. This is all here. We are going to really substantially contribute to the development and upliftment of East Kingstown. Thank you for that appropriate contribution.
Thank you very much, Minister Browne. And I think we have time for one or two more contributions. Yes, Mr. Pompey would like to make a contribution.
Okay, good night, everybody, again. So first of all, thank you for that contribution, Mr. Ambassador. One of the things that we did when we were building the website is that we bought the domain eastkingstown.com, just East Kingstown. And I am proposing that we can probably build a website where we can document a lot of the things that you were suggesting and ensure that the content there has academic value so students can use it for research. And we can also document all the, the history of the community and, document the achievements of the sportsmen and women and the entrepreneurs and some of the other people who are of, distinct note in the community. So that's I'm also proposing that as well. Yeah? Cool.
I am smiling because I love the sound of this, and I think that having a one-stop shop where we can get information related to icons and history in East Kingstown would be wonderful. I would love to see it for every constituency, I may add, but I think starting in East Kingstown would be a wonderful and even better idea. So I want to thank you for that and for taking the initiative to actually get the domain name East Kingstown. We would have our final intervention. Anybody who has a burning comment or any questions, feel free to share. Sure, please come, Mr. Bowman. Let's welcome Mr. Bowman.
Thank you very much. It's not so much a question. It's just that I want to say that what we have experienced this evening is nothing short of brilliance and commitment. We have a young and experienced candidate, and I specifically use those two words, young and experienced, because clearly from the presentation of the plan, here is someone who is not only passionate about what he's doing, made the time to go and engage with the people over the past 10 years or so since he's been in the constituency. So you are not getting somebody who is new. You're getting somebody who understands what is happening in the community. You really cannot have put together a plan like that if you weren't connected to the people. And really connected to the cause. What you heard and what you felt this evening is somebody with love for people. And the two earlier points that Luke made, with reference to the book that his father gave him, the one about leadership, and you're involved in something which is bigger than you, came out this evening. And the second point about love is what I felt throughout the entire presentation. I want to say congratulations, Luke, and I really think that the people of East Kingstown are going to continue to get the service and the leadership that we need in this time in our lives in St. Vincent and Grenadines and in the world. Thank you very much.
I think and I would definitely say that, I almost said Ambassador Bowman, but I would definitely say that Mr. Bowman put the icing on the cake this evening, and Culture Man just inserted a couple candles, I would say about 5. We need it. Let's say it together. We need it. 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 We can make a difference together. It is our time to shine. And we will be shining on November 5th with Luke Browne for East Kingstown. Let's stand, please. We will all be redoubling our efforts to ensure that in East Kingstown, the celebrations for victory for the Unity Labour Party would begin in East Kingstown. We would be redoubling our efforts to ensure that East Kingstown is the envy of all constituencies in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We will redouble our efforts to ensure that proper representation and representation for everyone is evidenced in East Kingstown starting from November 6th right up to elections in 2025. I want to thank you all for coming out. You have been armed with the knowledge. You know the gospel. You can relate to this plan. And I want you to share it with everyone in our constituency. Share it with everyone that you come in contact with. And I want to trust that you would get home safely in this weather. Please, safely is the key word. If you see a comrade on the wayside or on the roadside, please take them home or see if you can assist them in any way, as we all have to live to see November 5th, to vote on election day, to be a part of a historic victory. Have a wonderful night. It was a pleasure being your chair.